Donnie and Lauren from Pop Crush Nights here with the one and only Demi Lovato. Hey there.
Hello.
So very few artists are able to reinvent themselves and do it well. So what made you kind of go back to this like grunge pop punk Demi style?
Um, I saw some friends of mine perform at a show that they were having. They're in a band called Dead Sarah, and I was listening to their album. It just um felt so fresh. And then I went and saw them live, and I was like, God, that's the kind of music that I miss doing. Like, I want to do that on stage. And so I started making music that felt more authentic to me because it doesn't feel like performing felt stale to me because I wasn't performing the music that I like. So I just decided to change it.
I love that. So the new single is Substance.
Yes.
And there are very few songs that actually make me think. And I think when I heard it, I was like, wow. And not to get a little personal on you, but I think as adults, like I've been through a lot of things in life. You've been through a lot of things in life. So it's like we naturally put up walls. How are we able to kind of break that wall down to find substance inside somebody?
Ooh, that's a really good question. And I appreciate you asking that because sometimes um, I get asked the same questions over and over, and this is not one of them. Um, you know, how do we break down that wall? I think it's all about trust. You know, you have to build trust. You can't, your walls can't be completely closed. If you're like this all the time, you're never gonna be able to experience a hug. And so it's about like, keeping your arms by your side to where you're guarded enough to where you're protecting yourself. But if you want to reach out and give a hug to someone, your arms are there. But yeah, it's just about it's about having enough faith and hope to keep going.
Fabulous.
Demi, I think that's such a great answer. When I think about, people going through the creative process, I kind of feel like it's very similar. Like you have to be open, you have to be trusting, you have to be willing to just kind of show up for that other person. I know that you co-wrote this song. What does your writing process look like? And I guess, do you come up with the idea first, or do you come up with a title first and then write the song? How does that work for you?
Sometimes I come up with a title first. Sometimes I come up with a concept, and oftentimes the concept will end up being the title. But I just have like an app in my notes app. I have like a note that has all these like concepts and titles in it, things that I want to write about. But yeah, that's kind of how I like to write. I don't really just like sit down with instruments and just randomly start spouting out lyrics. I like it to be very intentional.
That's amazing. Where do you get your inspiration from?
I get my inspiration from, personal experiences. So everyday life, relationships, certain things that I'm going through, just everything, emotions.
Amazing.
Do you ever think that something is too personal? You're like, wow, I listen back and you're like, whoa, maybe I should not have talked about that.
Yes. There's even some songs on this album where I feel that way. But ultimately, it's about speaking my truth. And I have to set aside my fear and put my truth out there because I know someone can relate to it, and someone's alone and someone needs that voice. And if I can be there for them, then I want to be. That's why I do this.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Because I don't know if it's indicative of the world that we live in, but when I hear the word substance, obviously I think of an alcohol or a drug, but it's like, no, substance is the meat of a person. And we so forget about that. That's why I said, when I listened to the song, it really made me kind of like have a moment to go, wow, maybe I need to retrain my brain for the way I think, not only about myself, but about other people.
Yeah. Yeah. The concept of substance was, I thought it would be really interesting to write a song where you think you know what it's about by reading the title, but it's actually not about that at all. The title, you would think coming from me, would be about substances, given my history, but it's actually about no, it's about the lack of of depth in the world today. That void of the lacking of human connection, you know, even down to like social media. Like I'll talk to friends on there, but I haven't seen them in 5 years, 6 years. And it's like, where's the actual connection in that? And granted, I don't have time to see all of my friends all the time. I have a lot of friends, but it's just about like, it's down to what content we watch, you know, what TV shows we watch. Are we watching trashy reality television, or are we watching documentaries that we learn something from? So yeah, that's what the song is about. It's just the depth that we're lacking.
So Demi, I think that with the depth of this song, I've watched a couple of things about you, and I'm thinking that the album, which I'm not sure that we can even say on the air. Can you say your album title?
Yeah, I can say my album title. I'll say it for you.
All right.
My album title is called Holy Fuck. And if you don't want to say that, you can just say Holy F.
Thank you for the permission. We've been trying to go around that for a minute.
Yeah.
You talk about this being such a real album that's about you. Like this is the most real that you've felt in a while. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm clear-headed. I'm sober. And I haven't been clear-headed and sober for, I'd say, probably 3 years now. And, being able to make all of my decisions, make this album from a clear headspace, really, I'm focused on who I am and what I want to say and what I want to perform. And I'm more sure of not only myself as an artist, but myself as a person.
So I'm going to switch gears for a second because we have a lot of things in common, but one of the things we have in common is the ghost and paranormal. I have an obsession with ghost and paranormal. Okay. My thing is, why do you think they choose us? Is it trauma? Is it just we're adventurous?
I think that people who experience the paranormal are more intuitive, or more like they're empaths, you know, and because we're empaths and we pick up on energy, it's like we're more sensitive to other dimensions and other that veil between us and them is thinner. And so that's why some people who don't believe never see anything. It's like, well, you're not looking for it. Yeah. And maybe you're not an intuitive person, or you're not an empath, which is okay. But I don't think it's trauma or anything like that. I think we're okay. It's just like we're heightened to energy.
Fabulous.
Well, I will say that I've already said this once. If I happen to pass away before you, Demi, I'm coming back as a ghost and I'm going to haunt you so you can sing to me. That's my goal.
Okay.
So we have one last question. You know, we recently talked to Dove Cameron, and she said that, you know, she never really felt like she was really connected to Disney. You know, if you look back and you look at Disney stars now, what advice would you give them?
Like Disney stars today?
Yeah.
I would say that like it's more important to have a personal life than it is to have a career at that age. And I think I think that's what got lost in the era of Disney when I was in it, was like, we were all working so hard, running ourselves into the ground. And I didn't really get to appreciate the journey a lot. I didn't have a lot of fun in my downtime, because I was often thinking about what I needed to do next. And, you know, you just put so much pressure on yourself to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to act a certain way. I would just say, like, if you want to be a teenager, be a teenager. And if you want to do this for a living, maybe wait a little bit till you're older so you can like have life experience under your belt, because I think that's what sometimes we miss as like child stars. We don't get to experience childhood and life as it is for a teenager without being under a magnifying glass or a microscope. So yeah, I would just say, like, take it easy. You don't have to be on top of the world. Just enjoy your time right now. Be present.
That is a beautiful answer. And I'll tell you where I'm going to enjoy my time and be present is at your show this fall.
Oh, so thank you
so much for the time today. This has been a blast. I can't wait to see you perform live.
Thank
Can't
you
wait
so
to ask.
much.
Yeah. Thank you, Demi.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.